My name is Haoyao Chen, an IEEE member from Harbin Institute of Technology, Shenzhen. I am also a member of IEEE Robotics and Automation Society. When I was a child, I was quite interested in making toys by myself. When got admitted to University of Science and Technology, I chose engineering without hesitation. I was quite interested in environmental sustainability, especially that in the countryside. By collaborating with Professor Liu Yinghui from CUHK and Professor Zhang Shiwu from USTC, we are trying to develop a framework that combines mobile ground robots, amphibious robots, and unmanned aerial manipulators together. In that way, multi-robots operated in different areas can be networked to cooperate with each other. We are exploring to use multi-sensors to realize robust and long-term navigation in complex GPS-denied environments. The fusion of different sensors can provide useful information about robotic localization and environmental map building. On the basis of these algorithms, robots can automatically implement the assigned tasks. We are trying to develop autonomous robots for assisting or replacing people to implement dangerous tasks. Our research can benefit many other industries such as search and rescuing, industry transportation, agriculture, logistics, and so on. Although there exist many challenges, I am optimistic about the robotic solutions for environmental sustainability. In the next 5 to 10 years, more and more robots will be applied in environmental monitoring, pollution control, and so on. Environmental sustainability is an interdisciplinary field. We are looking forward to cooperating with researchers from robotics and other fields to overcome the challenges in this important area.
It definitely changes your life. It helps you establish relationships that are really tighter because you already have a lot of things in common in the way you think, work, want to change the world around you.
As you get involved in IEEE, you really get a sense that you want to give back and to grow the community that you have.
I think there's a natural intersection between IEEE and its role in promoting the emergence of new technologies and entrepreneurship.
IEEE was a great channel to get to connect with professionals in the field. You never know what's going to happen when you meet so prominent people that are foreseeing the future.
What has IEEE brought me? I've worked full-time in power system automation, which we call smart grid, for over 41 years now, full-time. And the job changes I've made were through industry friends that knew of opportunities that I wouldn't have known otherwise and opened up the door for me. And many of these industry friends I met through IEEE.
What other place can you try to take a risk of doing our presentation skills and bringing in somebody from industry to talk to other scientists and engineers? I've been a member of IEEE for 25 years, and I still talk and mentor about this to this day.
IEEE has given me opportunities to network in terms of getting to know the leaders in the field, and also has provided an outlet for those leaders to know what I'm doing. So it's been good for both of us.
Given the world that we're living in now, where everything is pretty much about the internet and about connectivity, it's actually a good time to be an engineer and to be a telecommunication and networking engineer.
We know it's about the dynamics between people and people groups where our future is. And engineers can facilitate that, but they don't have the answers. It's the answering of us together as a community, not as engineers alone. So engineering is not going to solve the world, but it's going to facilitate that problem solving and getting together.
At IEEE, we believe technologists are the key drivers of tomorrow's innovations because we can really do what IEEE's motto states. We can advance technology for the benefit of humanity.
I always wanted my education to mean something more than just, doing a day job that pays my checks. I wanted to see how my background in engineering and other things could have an impact that can make somebody's life better.
Being able to connect our members with younger students and engaging them to emphasize that it is important, that what they are pursuing in their STEM careers is truly going to be the next thing that affects all of humanity, because all technology that we make is affecting people, and it's not just IEEE members, it's everybody.
Hello everyone, my name is Ayub Aiteda and I am the Vice Chair of CAST Society in the B branch, the IEEE student branch of Bordeaux. Today we are happy to continue our B-Talk series with the second talk and with our distinguished guest, Professor Franco Maloberti. But before we start the main event, I have some announcement of the upcoming event to show you. Okay, so the B talks. We have 4 talks in this month in October. We did have last week a talk by Professor Ricardo Reyes. If you did miss it, you can also always find the video in our YouTube channel. Today we'll have a talk by Professor Franco Maloberti from University of Pavia in Italy about doing research in knowledge-based societies. And next week we'll have Dr. Gabriel Maganaro from Analog Device in USA to talk about mixed signal technology for ultra-wideband signal processing systems. And in the last week of October, we will have Professor Gerald Yu from National University of Singapore to introduce us to body area network connecting things together around the body. Our friend from Porto Alegre, Brazil, also organized some interesting talk. And for instance, tomorrow they invite Professor Sergio Bampi to talk about maximum CMOS energy efficiency for IoT devices. And in the 23rd of October, they will have Professor Maciej Ugu-Razlek from Poland to talk about 3D integration, current development and future outlook. So make sure to visit their YouTube channel and to assist to this 2 interesting talk. So about upcoming event internationally, we have LastCast 2021, which will be a virtual edition in February. So for more information, go to the site here. And Porto Alegre University also organized a workshop for young professionals where they invite many distinguished guests with a different interesting topic. So for more information about this event, you go to their website and make sure to be there. For local events, there is a Nuit Européenne des Chercheurs, which will be held in all France, also in Bordeaux, in the 27th of November. It's an event where you can meet some researcher and talk about scientific subjects. And the next event that it's held in Bordeaux for people who are interested in Internet of Things, there is the IEEE Student School IoT Bordeaux, which will be held from the end of May to the 4th of June. So now I will let Dr. Nathalie Deltampe to address us some few words.
Thank you, Ayub, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to welcome the Professor Franco Maloberti to the B-Talk. Franco is a very famous professor in Italy and in the worldwide circuits and system community. And he is also a very good friend of ours. And he used to name us the French Mafia. And you know, Franco, the French Mafia enjoy to welcome you in Bordeaux for PhD defense, as you did, or for conferences. And today, more specifically, to discuss on research in microelectronics. So I will give the word to Ayub in order to give the biography of Franco. So thank you, Ayub.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so now I will present to you our guest, Professor, before to proceed to our talk. So Professor Franco Maloberti obtained his laureate degree in physics from University of Palma, Italy, and his doctoral honoris causa degree in electronics from ENOA in Mexico in 1996. Now he held the position of Emeritus Professor of University of Pavia, Italy, and Professor Franco Maloberti has held many positions in IEEE organization. He was the president of CAST Society, and now he is the president of IEEE Division 1. So thank you, Professor Franco Maloberti, for accepting our invitation. And now the B-Talk floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. So, good afternoon, everybody. As you see from the title, I'm not talking about something technical, but what is the effect of our technical activity and scientific activity in the society. The story that we have is very long, and actually, if you look behind many years ago, we can see that the human evolution started in around 30,000 years ago with the birth of the Homo sapiens. After that, we had evolution, we have domestication of animals, agriculture, city, religion. The writing started 5,000 years ago, numerical system less than 3,000 years ago. But none of these steps of the human evolution is important anymore. Actually, we live in the age with a key discipline, that is the electrical engineering, that is the responsible of the transition from the post-industrial to a new age. And actually, you know, if you look at the Human Social Development Index, as you see from this diagram here, you can see that until about a few centuries ago, until the steam engine introduction, we had the Human Social Development Index was very low, below 100. And also the population of the world was only a few hundred million, 780 million in 1775. After that, we had an explosion of both Human Social Development Index and also the number of people in the world. This is why we can say that until this time, nothing was really important. So the electrical, electronic, communication, computer, information technologies are, you know, the key discipline that determine the human evolution. If you look, for example, communication, you can see here that, you know, from a simple telephone set, we moved quickly in less than 200 years old of time, we can move quickly to the devices that we have at the moment that are very powerful, and with that you can do everything. So actually, people can not live without their cell phone. So the evolution of the man can be described by this diagram, where in the last step we have this person with the cell phone in the hand. Actually, we are talking about knowledge, but we see that knowledge is power. So we live in the information age, or better, we live in what we can define a society based on knowledge. So the knowledge society are a society that have the primary production resource is the knowledge. In order to generate the knowledge, education is very important, and we can say that the knowledge is generated by the sequence of education, innovation, and development. So we can say that using education, innovation can generate real things that are important for the development of the society. All these things are very good, so we are very happy, and we have important social benefits. One of these is the life is much easier. So in the past, people had to work hard. Now we have not the need to use hands. So we have robots, we have devices that are doing for us all very hard things. Another thing is that technology is improving the safety, because if you use machine, we have less risk. Also, knowledge is optimization, so everything is working much better than without the use of the devices of the technology. And of course, technology generates money, generate wealth. So that is very, very good. And normally we say that we are happy with these things, but also we have risk. And the risks are social risk. One of these is that all is too easy. We can do everything without any effort, even intellectual. So we have not really much the brain. And this is probably will generate a cultural decline. Another thing is the evolution is too fast. And normally it's faster than what people can accept. So eventually, young generation are far quicker in accepting the innovation, but for the previous generation is much more difficult. So, for example, your father or grandfather are not so enthusiastic on the product of the technology. Another thing is that technology is an excessive protection. So because of this, we lower the defenses that we have normally. In the past, every person was very concerned about the protection. Now we are not so much. Another social risk that I think is much more important than the other is that technology make us believe that we are invincible. And that is not true, actually. And we have the demonstration right now with the virus that is showing that the nature is much stronger than us. Okay, all these things are generating some question. One of these is that if the machine are a threat to human or are good for human. And also, another question is that we depend on robot and artificial intelligence. And the question is if this is not a road to serfdom, so we'll be slave of technology. Another question is that, as it happened in the past, the evolution is putting jobs at risk. But the question is that even the situation is not worse. So if the humanity itself is not at risk. So the issue is that how we can enjoy the benefit of the evolution and how we can face the risk. The answer will be that we have to change the social organization, we have to change the values that we have, and also we have to change the relationship. In particular, for our specific case, we have to change the university, and this is not an option, but is a forced consequence. So you see, from this diagram is that the information age and the knowledge society are generating converging winds that are lifting the university and eventually are moving the university from the ivory tower where she was staying for a century. So for a century, the university was like an ivory tower. Now that will be more and more difficult. So let's see now, what happened in the past. So university is a very, very old institution. Probably one of the first one, or one of the first universities in the world was the Imperial Nanking Institute in China. That was founded in 2058 under the kingdom of this emperor Sun Xiu. And this institution became a university campus in the interval 2076-3022 after Christ. And the emperor Sima Rui created 155 rooms for students. After that, we had university in the Arabic countries. We have University of Caroline in Fez in Morocco, 859. And also we had a university in Cairo, university in Baghdad in 1065. And the scope, of this university was to have an effective generation and preservation of culture, knowledge, values, and to have a formal transmission to this. The topic studied in this university were theology, jurisprudence, Arabic grammar, astronomy, philosophy, and logic, and so forth. Immediately after, we had university in Europe. So you see here that we have Bologna in Italy, Paris, Oxford, Montpellier, Cambridge, Salamanca, Padua, and also in this list, after a number of other universities, we have Pavia, that is the university where I'm staying now. Even for this university, the initial scope was exactly the same: to preserve and to protect the culture, and also, they had mainly religion scopes. One of the important features of the university is that the activity in the university is free. So we have freedom, and also the research is free. This feature was established by the Emperor Frederick I, who in 1158 established a charter named Constitutio Habitat. And that charter was established because, Frederick I was on his way from Germany to Rome to be crowned by the Pope. And he met a professor and student that were complaining about their status, and he decided to give them rules, rights, and privilege that are the one that we had for many centuries. So the feature of the university is that we have to be free, and if you are free, you are able to stimulate the scientific curiosity. Actually, if you are free, you don't have a mindset that is typical for children. So children are without a mindset. When they become old, you have a mindset that are driving your activity, but also they are constraining your activity. So you see from this statement from Oppenheimer, who was an important physicist, is saying that there are children playing in the street who could solve some of my top problems in physics because they have more of sense of perception that they lost long ago. And only if you are free, if you have freedom, you are able to keep a little bit for a longer time this special sense of perception. Another feature of the research activity in the past is that it was cheap. So you see here that the cost of this law, the Newton law, is only the cost of an apple, very, very cheap. And also the cost of the Archimedes law is also cheap because it was taking a bath and it discovered that there is a force that is lifting up when you have a solid immersed in the fluid. So because of the low cost, it makes sense, the reflection of Graham Bell that say, leave the beaten track occasionally and dive into the hood. And you will be able to find something that you have never seen before. So the recommendation is to think out of the box and, to have no constraint in your, in the process of generation of your results. If you move to the industry, the situation was completely different. So in the industry, the activity was labor intensive. And, to create a product, it was required to have a substantial amount of human labor. And the know-how was transferred by experience. So we had one of the workers that was old, we had a young one that was learning how to do the product. The situation changed a little bit later because of the theory of Taylor, who invented the so-called scientific management. So Taylor was, or the Taylorism was, to codify the knowledge that was able to describe how to do the activity. So he divided the steps of the activity into elements, and after, he defined the rules. And this is the basis of the assembly line. So you see that, you can build a product in a sequence of several steps. So what we can say is that, we had a transition. At the beginning, we had only agriculture. After that, we had the Industrial Revolution. And now, recently, we had the so-called Information Revolution. So the information technology was dominating the development of the world. All these things have some positive and negative effect. So one of this is that the young generation are less and less curious. So, you have the answer to the question very easily. So you have not to use the brain. Eventually, you have to use the finger. You do a search on the web, and you have the answer to your question. And because of this, they are not so curious, and they don't want to know why something happened. And, the students are interested only in immediate outcomes. And the link between result and the reason that is behind the effect that we have is not important. The reason is that, young generation rely on machine and robot. So here we have a cultural shift. And this cultural shift is unavoidable. Actually, this shift is not negative by itself, but we have two things. One is that the electronic education aids are more and more important. So you know that small kids, you know, even when they are 3 or 4 years old, they use the computer. They play with the computer. So they use, you know, for learning, because playing is a form of learning. They use electronic education aid. And because of this, the effectiveness of the traditional teaching method is reduced. So in the past, you know, the students were very passionate. So they had to study mathematics, for example, without understanding why mathematics is important. Now they say, I don't want to do that because that is useless. I want to know exactly, you know, why I'm doing this. Because of this, in my opinion, more and more we have to go back to the method that we use when we are kids, that is to learn by examples. Okay, now we have to understand, you know, the role of the education, and because of the thing that I mentioned before, we have a change in the education paradigm. Actually, you know, the school education must be able to create the new kind of worker, so the knowledge worker. So we have to remember that knowledge can be distinguished in the 3 or 4 different forms. We have the tacit knowledge, that is the personal, uncodified knowledge that is not possible to reduce to rules. And because of this, it's difficult to diffuse. And that is very important for organization. And because, you know, with the socialization, we are able to transfer this kind of knowledge. Another form of knowledge is the explicit knowledge, that is based on object or rules. So the knowledge is specified in books or manuals, and it's much more easier to use this knowledge and to transform the knowledge into the product. The last form is the cultural knowledge, that is the affective structure of a community. So when you belong to a community, you know, you have a set of norms and values, and you follow them. So this kind of knowledge is the glue of the community. Okay, using this this difference between different kinds of knowledge, we can see what kind of curricula we can have in the school and the university. One is the curriculum that we have to use to create user of knowledge. User of knowledge means that you know, this kind of worker will use the codified knowledge. So it's important to have a solid technical background. The person must be able to search to understand the codification of the information, and also must be able to reproduce previous things. And also it's very important to be able to use tools and to follow procedure. There is another category of worker, that is the people that are transferring the knowledge and protecting the knowledge. Transferring the knowledge means, you know, to translate the non-codified knowledge in codified knowledge. So people that are able to generate the rules that are used by the knowledge user. And here we have different features that are described in the slide. The last category is the people that are creating the knowledge. And for this, it's important to be able to create the right knowledge at the right time. Because if you are too advanced, you know, you generate knowledge that is available to everybody, and that is not very effective, you know, for the country that is paying for this generation of the knowledge. And if the knowledge is too late, that is useless. Okay, so we have seen that, knowledge is important for research activity and also important for industry. And in the industry, normally when you talk about the knowledge, we use the two letters R and D. And R and D in reality are not similar things. They are very different things. So R means research, that will correspond to basic experiments. D means development. And in the development, what you have to do is to have a very good execution and to have exploitation of the discovery and not to discover something. R&D in the industry is important, and the reason is that the investigation is a deliberate decision for doing a business, and the R&D is strategic, so it's for having a future growth. And the main reason for doing R&D is to develop maybe new products, new procedure, or to improve existing product and procedures. So the R&D in the industry is a very well-defined goal. And R&D is important because for high tech, it's crucial to survive. And you have to survive in an environment that is changing very quickly. And also the technology is evolving very quickly. They have to face the competitor. And also, the consumer preferences are changing in time. All these things are fundamental to marketing because, you can better understand the need of the market. And also, you can understand if with the technology available, you can generate a product. And also, R&D is important to improve the efficiency of the production processes. Let's see the university. University focus is not so well defined. If you ask a person why you do research, the answer can be, okay, I do that because I want to have a personal satisfaction. I am curious and we have to satisfy my curiosity. It may be some can say, okay, that's important for the social relevance, but that is not really convinced. So you say, okay, yeah, I know that will generate something good, but not something very, very specific. In general, the people do research because they want to freely explore the unknown. In order to do that, we have to be creative and curious, because creativity and curiosity are crucial. So once again, in the research in the university, the academic freedom is very important. And eventually, the people in the academia are interested on the evaluation of peers. So we don't have, the feedback from the market, but the feedback is only from the same environment. So what we can say is that, of course, we have a mismatch between these two views, and we can say that, the industry is like a realm of technology, where we have a king that is the profit of the money, and the main purpose is the business, or to have a new product on the market before the other, and of course to make money, to make profit. University, on the contrary, is the republic of science. So the main purpose is to seek the truth, and the competition is not, to have a product, but to be the one that is making a discovery and invention before the other. For scientists and school, recognition is the measurement of the achievement. And now we have parameters like the H index or other things that are quantification of this recognition. What will be necessary, maybe in the near future, or even now, will be necessary to favor a transition from the curiosity-driven to well-driven. Actually, the reason of this is that the research activity is expensive, and the cost of the research activity is paid by the taxpayer because they suppose that the research activity is generating economic relevance. It's not like in the past that the result of the research activity were used by the industry after a long period of time. So what we have to do is to have a balance between the cost and the benefit. And this balance must be able to generate some beneficial result that can be financial, but much more important must be non-financial beneficial result. Financial beneficial result is only for the industry. So for the research activity must be mainly non-financial or financial as a consequence. Okay. On this slide, you can see a summary of what I mentioned before, and we can say that the use of knowledge that is very quick with respect to the discovery is generating economic and social advantages, and because of this, we have to change the paradigm of research activity, especially in our area. Because of this, the research attitude should change in order to match, the expectation of the society. In any case, you see that it's very important to have that the creative process that is important to obtain innovative solution must be preserved. And because of this, at the same time, we have to ensure separation between the industrial goal and the results goal, but we have also to have synergy. That's a very strange concept. So what is the focus of the research for the future? The basic idea is that there must be an investment of the taxpayer for the next generation. So because of this, we have to ensure a suitable return of investment. The problem is what kind of return of investment is good for us. Of course, the research must ensure freedom and creativity, because if you are not free, you are not creative. So in summary, the research activity for the future must be a win-win cooperation between the research, people, and the society. Let's go now in a little bit more on the specific. And I have 3 questions. What kind of research for the future? What is the optimal research? And from whom we have to do the research activity? What kind of research for the future? Of course, for the taxpayer or for the company, they say, okay, we have to do research that is good for us. So we have to generate knowledge that is able to obtain advantages, competitive advantages with the other people. For company, it's important to have knowledge that are useful for future business. So let's say for short, medium-term perspective. And this can be obtained from a realistic and practical vision of the future world. But in my opinion, all these things are important, but it's important to have the suitable boundary condition. So we have to be able to produce a stimulating environment that is able to favor interaction, cultural confrontation, and exchange of information. All these things are not so well received by the industry because the interaction say, okay, we have to keep all this information secret. And that is not good because if you have secrecy, you don't have cultural confrontation and you have no exchange of information. Another thing is that we have to follow the right condition that blossom high-tech creativity by having a network of knowledge generator. And that is what actually we have at the moment, that we have to preserve that. Unfortunately, because of the virus, we don't have much interaction. So the conferences are more or less on standby. But as soon as this emergency finish, we have to go again, to have conferences and to exchange information between us. One of the reasons that we can use, is that protecting technology with secrecy is not good because knowledge is a perishable good. And what is important is to have a research activity and to have a transfer and exploitation that is fast enough in a way that the competitors are not able to replicate what you are doing in the short term. What is the optimal research? The optimal research is the one that is determining the right matching of the research interest or the curiosity and the medium and long-term society industrial needs. So what we have to do is, to be able to find interesting problem and to be curious about problems that have some link with the need of the society and the industry. My degree is on physics, and I used to say that the difference between the physicist and an engineer is that the physicist is discovering something, and after is trying to find the application for that discovery. For the engineer, the situation is different. So we have more or less a problem. This problem is staying on the back of our head for a while, and after we have the solution. Of course, we have to find the right balance between the need of the society and the industrial and the interest of the research. In my opinion, the best approach is that, we have interaction with the industrial world and with the real world. And from this, we receive suggestions, stimulus for idea. And this suggestion are able to trigger the technical curiosity that generate the process in the brain able to generate the solution theories and methodology that are the solution to the problem. But absolutely, in my opinion, research must be far from development. So R must be separated from development. The last thing is that from whom we do research. So we can have, a researcher say, what? Do I have a customer? No. And some of them, yes. So I think that here we have two statements that are opposite, one with respect to the other. One is saying, I wrote this book for a sense of personal satisfaction. Just like taking a good photograph or painting a picture or playing a good golf game or something, is the thing in itself that justifies it. So that is the ideal, old-style scientist. The second one is for Margaret Thatcher, that is much more pragmatic. Disciplining yourself to do what you know is right and important, although difficult. Is the high road to pride, self-esteem, and personal satisfaction. So in this statement, we have the personal satisfaction coming from you do what you like, what you enjoy, but you do what is important for the society. That are one opposite to the other. In my opinion, the truth is in between these two things. So in conclusion, we have that, we have again, the M with the R and D separated. In my opinion, university should have activity that is a little bit of R, but a little bit in increasing activity that is accounting a little bit for the D. The research center, probably, we have a bigger D, and after in the industry, we have activity that is going from this level to the full development. But in my opinion, the full development is not for advanced companies. For advanced company, it's important to do even all this part of the activity. So, in conclusion, I say that the research activity for the future will be at the optimum situation if you are able to create the optimal cultivation soil for innovation and the social progress. The skill on development must be minimum when you do research activity, and the main goal is to speak the same language. And the freedom must be preserved, but we have to include in the freedom some responsibility. So, in my opinion, what you have to do personally, and I try to do that in my long career, is to find the right track that enable to have fun, at the same time to favor innovation and social happiness. Fun is important. When you do research activity, we have to be happy and you have to enjoy what you are doing. So, in conclusion, I can say that the research knowledge-based society should create an harmonious environment that favors national wealth production, because the research activity is paid by the taxpayer of the nation, but promote the growth of a properly educated young. That's very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Franco Maloberti. This was a very interesting talk and give a lot of inspire a lot of reflections. So we go to the question section. We have a question from François Rivet. He say, when government around the world cut the research budget, is it the beginning of their country decadence? Are they right to prefer social industry or health expense instead of research or education?
Okay, the two things, research and education, in my opinion, are strongly connected. Education is, let's say, a byproduct of research activity. Actually, the research activity is also training of young people. So it's important to have research activity that is done in a team. And in the team, you need to have young people. In my opinion, the research activity is at the optimum when we have a flow of fresh blood. In university, you have that the professors are becoming old, so the interests are changing, and some of them are keeping the enthusiasm, and they are staying, doing research activity, but many of them move to the administration. And the good thing is that we have new people, young people with enthusiasm that are entering, and after a while they are going in the industry environment. Another important thing is that you need to have international connection. International connection is important. And at the European level, we had not much now, but in the past we had much more project between company, university in different countries. That's a very important feature because it's useful to understand the problem of the industrial world. And also is useful, for harmonizing the progress in the different countries.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Jan Doval. He say, nowadays, most of high technology research are sponsored by the industry with relatively high technology readiness level. How can we prepare the future of the future by force funding low to ultra low technology readiness level risky topics?
Yeah. Okay. The situation is that main industry collaborate with research center and university. I think here, we have two different attitudes. One is that, having students that are working for developing something can be cheaper than having, regular employees. And in some sense, that is useful to the student because, I understand the environment. Eventually, the people in the industry appreciate, the quality of the student. That is good. But, in my opinion, I made a time ago the example of the chicken. You know that if you have a chicken that are grown freely, they are free, to go in the field. The quality is much better than the chicken that are staying in a stage. So, in my opinion, doing a strict research activity with industrial goal is limiting, the period where, the student can be creative. So, eventually, when they is going in the company, this student is forced and is good, that is following the rules. But having a period of creativity, like, the period of the PhD is very important. Okay, let's go back to the relationship between industry and university. Second category, there's another category that is, okay, I have a relationship with the industry, with the university, because I want to know people for recruiting them. So when I was, for example, in the United States, Texas Instruments was giving money to the university just to have the opportunity to interview and to know these people in advance. That is good for the school and is good for the company, but in my opinion, it's not optimal because there is not this link between the problem of the industry and the research activity. The last category, that is what I had in the past, for example, with the Italian telecommunication company, and when I was, and after I came back from the US with National Semiconductor. We have companies that are interested on having research activity that is anticipating, the technical problem that they will have in the medium term. For example, for the Italian telecommunication company, we had a research activity to study integrated circuit because they had to buy components from American companies, and they wanted to know exactly, the problem that they had to discuss with these people. So in that case, the research activity is like the one that discussed in the talk, to have study of problem with industrial interest, but you study that freely without any constraint of time and constraint of other limit of time and use of this knowledge in products.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Jan Deval, an interesting question. Indeed, he say, how can we have any fun when pursuing research in digital electronics?
Digital electronics? What is that? Okay. Digital electronics, of course, is very important. And I am in the analog field, so I'm studying analog problems. In my opinion, one of the motivation of doing research is, to be creative. And digital is, very constraining, the activity. So it's difficult to find room for creativity. Probably, you can find room for creativity at the architectural level, because, all the circuits are already well defined. So, that if you want to have, this digital function, you can go in the library and we have everything there. So the creativity is at the architectural level. The problem is that when you go at the architectural level, the complexity of the system is becoming very large. And in order to face, and to afford this kind of things, you go very quickly, to the industrial problem. So I think that, doing research in digital probably is not so easy. And I have not experienced, but in my opinion, doing that is much more difficult and maybe in some sense less good than doing research in analog and mixed signal. So that is my opinion, but I'm biased.
Thank you. Well, I have a question from your experience, what is the advice that you can give for young researchers to advance in their research, or to be more creative and more productive in their research?
Yeah, that's one of the things, especially for young people, maybe young faculty, and also for PhD. They have the pressure of the achievement. So you are promoted, or you have your PhD if you have maybe number of publications, and if you have a good number of citation. And that, in my opinion, is negative, because the research activity is considered like a job. In my opinion, the best thing is that if you consider the research activity not like a job, but something that is generating for you enjoyment. You know, normally people say, okay, I'm going there in the office and I'm doing this and eventually, you know, you compensate for that with hobby, right? You say, okay, on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, I will do this because I enjoy this one. That is not, you know, the right attitude for doing research activity. But of course, you know, you have to ensure some solid results. So, in my opinion, you know, for a young researcher, it's important to have in mind that it's very important to enjoy what you do, and occasionally, you know, you can remember that yeah, you have to produce some solid results. But to me, of course, you know, if you have a good result, you can be promoted, you can have a higher salary or something like that. But I don't know. It's difficult to find an answer. But you have to find a good balance. In my opinion, having creativity and enjoyment in the first position is much better.
Thank you very much for your answer. So we have two last questions before we end this talk. There is a question from Yassine Al-Wazari. He say, looking back at COVID situation we have been going through the last couple of months, do you think the general public are starting to realize the importance of research and development more than ever?
Yeah, I think that I don't know. You know, the situation, in my opinion, is that from the scientific point of view, is that we have constraints, of course, but having a stop for a while can be useful to favor the creativity of people. You know, I remember, you know, in the book there was different phases for creativity. The first phase is that you learn about the problem. After that, you have frustration because you are not able to find the solution of the problem. After that, you know, you say, okay, I am not able to find the solution to the problem, but you know, you have that problem remains in the back of your head, and if you relax and if you don't think to that problem, you will have a brain process in the background that is able to generate a new idea. So one of the things that when I'm joking with my students, they say that, okay, don't worry about this because we are not able to find the problem. Eventually go on vacation and don't think to that problem. And if you are on the beach or if you are on a mountain, it may be that after a while you will have, you know, this light that is opening your mind and you find the solution. So I hope that this period of stop was able, you know, to generate, you know, this back processing of the problem that we have to solve, and at a given moment is generating the new solution. Unfortunately, this period is too long. In my opinion, you know, 1 month, 2 months is the right time, you know, to have incubation of your idea, your incubation of your problem. Another thing is that, you know, in my opinion, everything is exaggerated. We have an exaggeration, and of course we have to be careful. But all these things are because from the scientific side, we have no good answer to the solution of the problem. And that is again, the effect of what I mentioned before, that, we think that, with the technology, we are invincible, but that is not true. Especially, in the medicine and biology, there is a lot of things that must be explored. One point that I don't like is that these people are not addressing the problem that we have at the moment. They have not been addressing in the past. They are studying, for example, the DNA or these things, but apparently the study that they made didn't produce the good benefit for the society. So even in that area, I think it will be important to drive the resources in the direction that are really important for us.
Okay, thank you. So the last question we have from Professor Ricardo Reyes. He say, do you think that most of undergraduate programs are adapted to interdisciplinary education? And my congratulations for being elected as Division 1 Director-elect.
Okay, good. Thank you. I don't. Can you repeat the question? Because
the question say, do you think that most of undergraduate programs are adapted to interdisciplinary education?
Undergrad program.
Yeah, undergrad.
Yeah, I think that the effect that I mentioned before is more limiting the undergraduate level. The reason is that the students that are now doing the PhD, they had only for part of the time, the use of these electronic tools. But the new generation are more and more, affected by the use of electronic tools, and they are not so interested on understanding, the reason of different things. So, in my opinion, the undergraduate, especially at that level, it will be important, to change the method of teaching, because more and more the students are coming from the high school, don't have adequate preparation. So, in my opinion, it will be important, to have a process that is stimulating the curiosity of the student. I wrote a book that was on proposing a top-down approach. So the idea is that you have to start from the system. You say, okay, you have this in your hand, and you stimulate the student, to understand what is inside. And so the idea is that, to ask them continuously why, you have these things. And to use eventually this top-down method or learn by example method. So that will be important change, in the education paradigm.
Thank you very much for this beautiful presentation and this your answer of this question. So we'll just remind that next week say thank you, Mr. Professor Franco Maloberti, for this presentation again, and thank you for the audience for being present, and say bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.